In a sport where every jump counts, and every landing matters, one wrong move can change everything. For Peyton Meyer, volleyball wasn't just a game. It was an identity, passion, and purpose. But then, in a blink of an eye, it all disappeared. When Peyton Meyer tore her ACL, it felt like everything stopped. The game, the season, her dream. But what seemed like the end was just the beginning to something new. Their journey began in first grade when Peyton Meyer started playing the sport because she hated running.
I was in first grade and I started because I hated running. My dad was a college basketball player and my mom was a college soccer player, and so I started those by the time I was 3 and 4. And then volleyball came in first grade and because I hated running. And so it was a rough start, and I hated volleyball for a very, very long time. I hated it because I wasn't good at it, and I thought it was boring because at that level, like, nobody can serve over, there's no rallies, there's no interesting elements, and so I was like, this is stupid. But I think my mom wouldn't let me quit.
He made her serve up the stairs until she could do it correctly over and over and over, just to tell her that she can. I think that's more we wanted her to believe in herself and to know that she could do it versus like, no, just quit, that's the easy thing to do.
I think in middle school was kind of that time. I remember I had a coach sit me and my dad down. He was like, hey, your kid has a potential to play Division I volleyball, and if you want that, she's gonna have to go all in.
And I think that Peyton understood that she had a high ceiling, and when someone said that out loud to her, it became like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like, oh, someone thinks that about me, I'm gonna go chase that. And so some of her stubbornness and all the things that she had cultivated personality-wise started to mesh with her athletic ability, and it was clear that she was gonna go after it.
After nearly quitting the sport Meyer now loves, she switched positions from a hitter to a setter, solidifying her love for the game. Meyer had 2 very productive seasons at Elkhorn North before transferring to Westside with longtime teammate and friend Ashlyn Paymo.
She started Elkhorn North. We looked at a few schools and ultimately thought that was the best option for her. For volleyball, she played JV and was the starting JV setter. She did fantastic. There was another setter that was only a year above her in setting, so we knew her opportunities to set weren't going to be very high.
I knew I wanted to leave in some capacity, but I didn't really know what that was going to look like. And then I was just presented with this really cool opportunity, and it was kind of presented to me and Ashlyn at the same time. And we've been playing together since we were 12 on club, and so we kind of looked at each other and were like, are you going to do it? Are we going to do it? So jokingly, when we were touring Westside, I was like, hey, if you do it, I'll do it. And she's like, okay, if you do it, I'll do it. And then we kind of just stood there and we were like, okay, we're both doing it. And so we kind of made that decision.
So she had the unique opportunity coming with Ashlyn. So she and Ashlyn had played together since they were 12. And they learned each other's idiosyncrasies and where they were and how to relate. So that was one of the big reasons she came.
I made some really good relationships and I got to play alongside really cool people, but I knew it wasn't for me. But I'm still absolutely grateful for my time at Elkhorn North, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
2 great seasons at Elkhorn North, and a transfer to Westside. Everything was looking up for Peyton Meyer. That was until
transferred, and she was doing well, and like all of her dreams were like right there for her.
I remember just being like, there goes my recruiting journey, there goes everything that I had been working toward.
My heart sank.
Midway through her junior season, it's October 3rd, a day like any other. For Peyton Meyer, it was meant to just be another match. But in a heartbeat, a blink of an eye, everything changed. One wrong step, the sudden twist, and then the fall. The moment the world stopped. Dreams were derailed. Everything changed. That's the single seconds that are forever engraved into the memory of Peyton Meyer.
I remember that very vividly. I remember just being like, there goes my recruiting journey, there goes everything that I had been working toward. One of the biggest blessings, I think, is I'm just laying up at the ceiling and my dad somehow makes his way from the stands and he comes over and he just grabs my hand. He's like, "It's gonna be okay, kiddo, it's gonna be okay."
I just wanted to be there for Peyton. It was instinctive for me to go out there. I'm not a great dad by any stretch, but it was just a sense of like, that my kid needs me, right? Like, and I need to be there.
During the game, right when it happened, I knew that she tore her ACL. I had done it twice myself, so I knew what the injury was. My heart sank as I know what it takes to get back, and I know the long road.
And I was like, okay, this is gonna be really freaking hard, but we're gonna figure this out. And so I think the moments after, like, I knew it happened. The trainers there, they can't tell me that I tore my knee, but I knew it happened. And so that began day one of figuring out what that was gonna look like and figuring out that was gonna look like in recruiting and just in general.
Her dreams have shattered. Everything has changed. Only 1% of high school athletes make it to a Division I level. Peyton Meyer's dream of going Division I had just become a whole lot harder. The journey is now at a roadblock. Recovery was right in the way, but Peyton Meyer was ready to fight it.
Well, coming out of surgery was rough. I got very sick from anesthesia, so I was puking for a very long time in the recovery room, but once I kind of came to my senses, I heard the news that I had only partially torn my meniscus and that they were able to repair that, which was a really big deal because we couldn't see on the MRI what that was going to look like. And so if I had fully torn that and had that removed, that was really going to add some months onto my rehab. And so once I learned that that had not been super affected, I was like, okay, here we go. My surgeon, Dr. Tao, is a family friend, and he's just someone who I hold dear, and he was so gracious and kind. And so he helped me through that whole process. And I had a whole team at UNMC that was a research team that helped me through that whole thing. Rehab was twice a week for an hour and a half. And it was an hour and a half just dedicated to me. And it was, starting from the basics. Like, I could not lift my leg at all for like 3-4 weeks after surgery. And that's really humbling to be an athlete who literally just a couple weeks before was on the court, and now all of a sudden you can't even walk, lift your leg, move. It's humbling, but those were long days, but I got through it.
10 long months of recovery, learning to move her leg, to walk, and do things that used to be second nature. It begs the question, how can such a bad thing have any positives at all? Meyer found the answer to that question, and it changed everything. Her family, her identity, and everything else around her.
That was really hard. I had never really had that free time before, and so I had to rediscover who I was. And I think I'm actually grateful for my ACL injury because I think I had put my identity into volleyball, and I had to realize volleyball can't be my hope in life. If it's my hope in life, it's going to fail me. But then also outside of just training, it was just spending time with my family. I became a leader of a Bible study, just finding new ways to be present in life because life could have been completely put on pause in those 10 months, and I decided that wasn't going to be the case. I was going to keep living, and I just was going to figure out a way to do it.
After the 10 longest months of Peyton Meyer's life, she had been cleared to step foot in a gym. It was practice. It was learning to set the ball once again. Peyton Meyer had hoped her dream was alive. After 10 months and 19 days, Meyer had been allowed to play in the first match of the season. It would all begin right where it all started, at Elkhorn North High School.
To my surprise, I played, my first game back was at Elkhorn North, which was not supposed to be the case. That was not the plan, but Coach told me literally the night before, he's like, "I think you're ready." And I looked at him and I was like, "You're crazy." And he's like, "No, I think you're ready and you're gonna go play." So I think that was a full circle moment and God smiling down on me of, hey, you got through this and you're gonna go back to where you started and then you're gonna go win that game.
Bittersweet is the wrong term, but there was an element that I as a dad had to quiet my heart, because you kind of want to silence the doubters a little bit, and your kid's coming back from a major injury. And so what I tried to really think about that day was, I just get to watch my kid play.
I probably cried more that day than I have my entire life. Just kind of she did it. She got here, and she was able to do it on her terms.
From nearly quitting, transferring, broken dreams, and a 10-month recovery, Peyton Meyer made it through it all. She did it with a smile on her face. Meyer ultimately made her dreams come true by signing a letter of intent to Towson University to keep playing volleyball next year at the Division I level. It was everything she had been through that made the journey truly special. For WTV, this has been Zachary Kastrick.